Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal and welcome to the match reaction for our 1-0 win against, which team did we even play? FC Zurich. And I've already seen a comment from you, Tactical, and yeah, let's talk about that right away. To be honest, it's not been the best Europa League campaign. Yes, we've done the job, we've topped the group, but if you compare the Europa League performances to the ones in the Premier League, not recently, but literally all 6 games in the Europa League. When we went to Zurich, we won 2-1. It was a poor performance. Today, once again, a bit poor. We only managed a 1-0. We literally scraped a 1-0. They could easily have had a goal as well. Against PSV last week, we were poor. When we went to Bodo Glimt 3 weeks ago, we were lucky to get a win there as well. We only had one shot on target that day. The only game that we played well this season in the Europa League was Bodo Glimt at home when we won 3-0. All the other games we didn't play well. Yes, we got through, but a bit concerning. That kind of shows you the second team is not that great. That shows you that the players who are coming on are not really. I mean, we've kept clean sheets in like 4 or 5 of those games. I think 4 of those games we've kept clean sheets. So you can't really blame the likes of Rob Holding and players like that. But when you start looking at the other players coming on, it hasn't been great. Nelson was great in the Premier League the other day. Europa League, he hasn't been great. Nketiah as well has been a bit disappointing this season in the Europa League. So yeah, our second team does not do that well. We've managed to get the win, 15 points out of 18. Not that bad, but I would have expected more in terms of performances, in terms of building confidence, in terms of the Europa League is there, especially the group stage. Usually when Arsenal is in the group stage of the Europa League, Chelsea, Man United, Villarreal, all these teams, they do expect to finish top of their group easily, actually. So what you're trying to look for is good performances. You're trying to look for players who are going to play well so that maybe they're trying to look for a position to play in the Premier League. You play well in the Europa League, you might end up starting in the Premier League. So how many players this season in the Europa League in Arsenal's second team have impressed you to the point where you're like, wow, this guy played really well in the Europa League this season. They need to play in the Premier League for us. No one, literally no one has played that well to the point of deserving a place in the Premier League. So that is disappointing. 6 games, we only scored 8 goals. So that is not great at all compared to PSV. I think PSV scored like 15 goals in this group. We only scored like 8. So they literally almost doubled the number of goals we scored. So that is not great. Compared to like a group like Man United, we all finished with 15 points, but Man United came second, we came first. So we have been lucky, but we have avoided the round of 32 because if we finish second, if Zurich scored a goal today in the last minute, we would have gone to the round of 32, which meant we would have been facing a team like Barcelona or Juventus or Ajax or Salzburg. These teams dropping down from the Champions League, which is basically 2 more games that you don't need to play, especially if we are still anywhere close to top of the table next year of January, February. We will have the FA Cup to play. The Carabao Cup will be there. Hopefully we are there as well. So there will be a lot of competitions to play, and you definitely need to avoid games, unnecessary games like a round of 32 in the Europa League. So we were lucky, but we've gotten the job done. So in that, I'm happy. But obviously, you expect the likes of Martinelli to come back over the weekend, and we can't play like this against Chelsea. In the Premier League, we have been okay apart from games against Leeds and Southampton. The others, we've been okay in all of the games, but Europa League, not quite. So let me know what you make of the performance. Am I talking rubbish? Do you not care about how we played as long as you've gone through? Glenn, it does not matter. You're talking rubbish as long as we've gone through. Or are you like, no, I'm also concerned in terms of the performances in the Europa League. So first up, as always, let's go through the starting lineup from today, and then the match reaction, and then the player ratings at the end. So this was Arsenal's lineup today. We had Ramsdale in goal. We kind of had to mix it up. Tierney started today. Ben White started as well. The defense, I've not had a problem with the defense apart from the PSV game. The other 5 games, the defense has been okay in terms of Europa League. Holding, Tomiyasu, and who has played. Gabriel, Holding, White, and Tierney at the back. No problem with that, really. Midfield, Mohamed Elneny is back now. I'm happy to have him back because I'm not a fan of Lokonga playing in that Elneny role. And also, Partey has had to play way too many games, and Elneny could have helped in such games. So Elneny is back. Lokonga as well started in the position where I've always wanted him to start. He's not really been playing there because we've had Xhaka and Partey and Elneny have been injured for most of the season. But also, Xhaka was suspended today. So I think if Xhaka was there, he would have played today, but he was suspended. He is fresh for the Chelsea game, so that is great. Fabio Vieira as well on that side. To be honest, he's played okay, but he's not really excited me in the Europa League this season. I think most of you would agree. And then up front, he had Nelson, Nketiah, and Jesus. So sometimes Nelson moved to the left, sometimes Nketiah moved to the right. But that was our starting lineup. And then Gabriel Jesus was our captain for the first time. In our national shirt, he was our captain. I don't think he's captain as before Jesus, so he was the captain today. Surprisingly, I thought Holding would be the captain. And then on the bench, he had two goalkeepers in KJ Hein and Hilson. We also had Zinchenko, who's also returned. That is also good news. Tomiyasu, like, this is so Arsenal, guys. Like, literally, Zinchenko has just returned today, and then Tomiyasu's gotten injured. Like, why does it have to happen? Like, one player is back, another player gets injured immediately. The day Arsenal have every single player fit, that would be history. The world will end that day because we've never had every single player fit over the last 30 years, I don't think. And then Cedric was also on the bench. He made his first appearance today. Saliba as well. Partey, Odegaard, Martinelli, Marquinhos, Saka, Smith. I've said this in every single Europa League game. I'm hoping we get 2 goals in the first half so that we can take off Jesus and Ben White and Tierney and bring on the likes of Cedric, Smith, and the likes of Marquinhos so that these players rest for the Chelsea game. But we haven't quite done that. All our players, we've literally had to play our first team or bring on first team players or play first team players more for more minutes because we've not really gotten the job done in any Europa League game apart from the Bodo Glimt one. But that was our lineup. The only surprise maybe, was there any surprise El Neni starting? I didn't expect El Neni to start. I thought Lokonga would start and maybe Odegaard and Fabio Vieira. The rest, I think you would have expected. Maybe Tomiyasu for Ben White, but the rest was okay. So as always, we usually want Arsenal to start the game quickly, get a goal early. And considering Zurich, I've considered, PSV beat Zurich 5-1 and I think 6-0. So they scored 11 goals against them in 2 games. We've only scored 3 goals against them. So as always, we want a quick start, but the first 15 minutes, they started better than us. They had like 4 corners. Ramsdale made a silly mistake. Nelson gave away the ball as well in a dangerous position. The only chance we had was like in the 15th minute, and then our goal in that first half. The rest of the first half wasn't that great. Today as well, you only had 3 shots on target, which is not great. But straight to the goal because that was the first major event in that game for us. Kieran Tierney with a superb goal. We are moving like Chelsea. We've depended on our defender today to save us. But what I like from that move on the right side, once again, Ben White. I always talk about Ben White. Ben White today, once again, he was very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Vital, yeah. He was very, he played a big role in that goal for us, like moving on the right side, going forward and crossing the ball. He's done that a lot because we've always said Ben White is not really the best attacking right back. He's not like Trent or Reece James or anything like that. And some people do prefer Tomiyasu than Ben White in terms of right back, in terms of going forward. They're not anything like Tierney or Zinchenko on the left side. But Ben White this season is putting some really good crosses. I think he has like 3-4 assists. Today was not really his assist, but he's the one who put in the cross. So good communication there with Nelson. And then what a finish from Kieran Tierney. This was absolutely superb for a defender on his left foot volley. And I didn't know that was going to be the only goal. So for a winning goal, that was brilliant. That was very, very good from Tierney. His first goal for us this season. I think like his 5th or 6th goal for us. Recently played the 100th game for Arsenal, so I'm happy for him. Hopefully he can stay fit because they were tackling him hard as well today, stepping on him all over the place. But that was a very good goal from Kieran Tierney, making it 1-0. Very early, once again, 17th minute. That is something that I cannot fault Arsenal for this season. In terms of starting games this season, first half and second half, we've been absolutely brilliant. We always score in the first 20 minutes, like always. And most of those goals actually come in the first 10 minutes. We've managed a goal in the 58th second against Liverpool. We managed a goal like in the 12th, 15th minute against Crystal Palace. We scored early on against in big games, in away games, in home games. We've been doing well in terms of starting games well. And today, once again, we didn't start well in the first 15 minutes, but we scored a goal in the first 20 minutes, so that was good. 16th minutes, good goal from Tierney, making it 1-0. From there on, I thought we were going to carve them apart and score a second, and maybe score a third and end up winning 4-0 or something, but it definitely didn't turn out that way. Ramsdale had a moment of madness. Nelson had a moment of madness. And then Ramsdale as well. Ramsdale had some work to do today, making 2-3 good saves today as well. And then Vieira, we got a couple of corners. what I liked about Vieira today, especially in the first half, the corners he was putting in, there were good corners. There was one that Nketiah headed and the goalkeeper saved. Vieira did put in 3 or 4 good crosses today from the corners. We usually have good corner kick takers these days. That's why we've been scoring a lot of corners the last 2 years. Saka's improved in terms of corner kicks, even Smith Rowe before he got injured. By the way, I'm really missing Smith Rowe because in a game like this today, he would have been playing and would have added a bit of flair in that game. The likes of Martinelli, he still needs to improve in the corners, but he's been okay in terms of some of them. Odegaard has been okay in corners, so I don't really have a problem with that. So we did create a couple of more other chances, but nothing much in that first stuff apart from that. It was a lot of fouls, a lot of yellow cards, stoppages in terms of the game. In terms of stats in the first half, we actually had 61% in terms of possession, 39% for them. We had 3 shots on target, they had 1. We had 7 blocked shots, they had 1. We had 6 corner kicks, they had 3. We were caught offside twice, they were caught offside once, but we didn't actually create a big chance at all in that first half. So everything was just shooting from outside the box like Tierney or crosses from a corner kick, not really big chances. So that is all for the first half. And if you think the first half was not that great, the second half, once again today, too quiet. We were too quiet again in the second half today. And we've done that a lot, especially recently. Leeds United, we played well in the first half. Second half, terrible. Southampton played well in the first half. Second half, non-existent again. By the way, I'm talking like we've gone out. We've not gone out. We finished top of the table, but it wasn't the best of performances, let's be honest. As well, I think the last game was the Premier League game. It was a game, I think Bodo Glimt away as well. Second half was a bit poor once again. And today, once again, second half, terrible. Like, apart from the first 5 minutes of the second half, the rest of it, I don't think we did anything. And I saw your comment at the beginning, Tactical, saying, I'll come to your comments, by the way. It was boring to watch. Someone said that in the comment, the second half. So that is true. It was not that great. I was just hoping the game ended 1-0. I was now starting to check how PSV was doing, checking if they were winning, and they ended up winning 2-1. So we definitely needed to win our game. Not the best of second half again, apart from a chance that Jesus had. Obviously, Saka and Partey came on for Elneny and Jesus. Saka and Partey weren't really needed for today, but we actually brought them on because the game didn't go as planned. I was hoping we wouldn't need them today. And Ramsdale did make a save. They actually scored a goal that was disallowed. So remember PSV last week scored like 4 goals against us and 6 goals against us last week, and 4 of them were disallowed or something like that. Today as well, Zurich actually scored a goal and it was disallowed. So not that great. You were lucky in terms of that. And then Tomiyasu and Odegaard came on for Vieira and Ben White, and then Tomiyasu got another injury. Oh, I'm so sad for him because I don't know if he's going to keep him out of the World Cup, but I'm so concerned. Right now, we don't have only one player who gets injured. That's the problem. Usually, if you look back over the years, we usually had Wilshere and Ramsey getting injured every time, and then later on you have Diaby and who else who usually got injuries? Eduardo, not that much, but yeah, those, you know what I'm saying. Usually had like 1 or 2 players getting injured every now and then. Right now, unfortunately, we have like 5 or 6 players that are getting injured consistently. Tierney, Zinchenko again has been added to that list. Tomiyasu, Partey. That's a bit concerning. To have like 5-6 players who cannot play 5 games in a row. That is a bit concerning. And the worst thing is that these players, whenever they play, they are very good. Like Tomiyasu, Partey, when they play fast, they are very good. But they can't play 5-10 games in a row. That is very concerning. So it's definitely, we need a second team on the bench because I'm very worried about these players. Now, if let's imagine Tomiyasu is out for 2 weeks. If he's back for the World Cup, he plays 3 games or 4 games or 5 games for Japan at the World Cup. You do know if he comes back, he won't come back fit. He'll come back with another injury again. That's the problem. So how many players are we going to sign in January? We're looking at, you can't sign 5-6 players in January. Usually teams sign like 2 players in January or something like that. So this time out, we have a lot of games, like FA Cup games next year, Carabao Cup games. Hopefully, if we beat Brighton next week, Premier League, if we are still top of the table, it would be a disaster if we drop from 1st to 5th. So we definitely have to get Champions League football this season. So it's not looking promising in terms of the injuries. I'm very, very concerned that we have like 5-6 players who are getting injured constantly. That is a massive worry. So hopefully Tomiyasu is not that serious, but you could see how gutted he was. He's already thinking about the World Cup. Obviously, no player wants to get injured right now. And then Cedric came on for him. I think that's Cedric's first appearance for this season. And then the last 5 minutes, it was all about holding on. No pun intended. We're not talking about Rob Holding, but yes, we had to hold on for the last 5 minutes because they're the ones attacking. Gabriel gave away a silly free kick. They almost scored from it. So we are pretty lucky to hold on. But it was 1-0 eventually. The referee today, he was actually terrible. There's a couple of corners that we weren't supposed to get that he gave us. There's a couple of fouls. There was one on Nelson in the 93 that was a definite foul. Nothing. The referee was all over the place today. But yes, that is how the game went. 1-0 to Arsenal. Not the best of performances, but what do you do? I'm just happy. So that brings me to the next question. Do you think the World Cup break is good for us, or do you think it's not good for us? Are you happy that there's a World Cup break for us to relax and to get players like Smith Rowe back, to get players like Tomiyasu back? Do you think it's good for us in terms of that, or do you think the World Cup break is bad for us because we are top of the table and you want us to keep winning and not to give Man City time to rest and refresh themselves for December, January, February? As of now, once again, I actually do kind of think it's not a bad time for the World Cup to come. Yes, we are doing well, but maybe we do need like a 1 month, 2 month break just to refresh our batteries and come back fresh later on in December. Because of the injuries, we've started getting a lot of injuries again recently, and also just to refresh ourselves. If you look at the first 10 games of this season, we played really well. We blew away Crystal Palace at their place. We blew away Leicester at our place. We blew away Bodo Glimt at our place as well. We destroyed Liverpool and Tottenham at the beginning of October, but the last, not destroyed them, we beat them obviously, but Tottenham, we destroyed them. The last 5-6 games though, 7 games actually, maybe 6 of them have not been great. Leeds, Southampton, PSV twice, Bodo Glimt. So I think that break is actually going to help us more than it's going to frustrate us or hurt us. So let's see what you guys are saying before I come to the player ratings. Tactical says every Europa League game performance has been disappointing and boring. I kind of have to agree with you, to be fair. Only the Bodo Glimt game at home was great. Even PSV at home, we scored in the 80th minute or something. We were very lucky that we scored in that game. Otherwise, that would have been the game that to take us second if we drew that game. Our B team isn't good enough. January signings are needed. If Spurs could get 3 last season, we should as well. I do agree, especially that we've started the season this well. I think it would be a disaster if we don't get Champions League. Last season, no one expected us to get Champions League, especially after a very poor start at the beginning. But this season, we have 31 points. 31 points in October. We have 31 points, I think, in the first. Have we played? How many games have we played? We've played, we've won 10. We've won 10, right? We've drawn 1. We've lost 1. So we've played 12 games in the Premier League. You know, every team that has had 30 plus points in Premier League history, every team that has had 30 plus points at this stage of the season, all of them have gone on to win the Premier League apart from Newcastle in Newcastle. I think it was Newcastle back on Newcastle or Blackburn. I think it was Newcastle back in 1994, 95 or something like that. All the other teams that have had 30 points at this stage of the season, all of them have won the Premier League. So it would be a disaster if we dropped from first to fifth. That would be massive bottling. That everyone will talk about that forever, how Arsenal bottled that from first to fifth. So we definitely have to get Champions League this season. I am doing good. RK, we've won the game, so I will quickly forget about this performance and remember the 3 points. Pablo says that's awesome. Congratulations. It's not awesome, Pablo, but it's okay. Benjamin says it was tough, but we scaled through. Fubi says Nketiah needs to go on loan for more game time to acquire more experience, exposure, and confidence. I mean, you would have said that if we didn't give him a 5-year or 5-6-year contract or something and the number 14. Now that he got that, I don't think he's going to go on loan. I think after hearing at 10, I do talking about him at the beginning of the season, I think Nketiah will be here for another 2 seasons. I cannot see him getting the number 14 shirt and also the contract and being loaned out. I can't see it. I think he will still be here next season, but maybe not the second choice striker. Maybe we'll get another striker and then he'll end up getting maybe the Europa League games again and the Carabao Cup games, but we are not planning to be in the Europa League again next season. So that leaves the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup alone. Arsenal not performing today, says KB. Angela says, let's continue. Don't forget we had side my friend halftime misses. So proud. Yes, obviously some people are still proud because we won the game. I am as well, but I'm not proud of the performance. Let's be honest. Let's see. Adam says very poor second half performance. I totally agree. Terrible. Actually, if we take a look at the stats in the second half, we had one shot on target in the second half. It's not the first time. I think against Glimt, we didn't have any shot in the second half. I think against Leeds, we didn't have any shot in the second half as well. So that is a bit concerning. I don't think we're taking our foot off the pedal because this season, like in the Premier League, we've scored 5, 4, 3. Actually, if you look at the stats, every single time this season, apart from maybe one game, we've scored in the first half and in the second half. So that doesn't really mean that we are taking our foot off the pedal in the second half. But in the Europa League, it hasn't been great. Let's see. Kabaya says second half always poor. Again, as I said, maybe it's because we are getting tired. Maybe the World Cup break is coming at the right time because we can't say that we're taking our foot off the pedal. Last season, we were scoring one goal and we were defending in the second half. That happened a lot last season, but this season we are not doing that because I think out of the 17, 18 games we've played, we've scored first half, second half 13 times this season. So that is good. Poor performance, says Trevik, but we won the game. Let's say Mui says we need to be more serious in the second half. Isaac says Gabriel Jesus is a Brazilian. If it happens, I would have black power against him. I don't think anyone cast him, Isaac. But yes, he's missing every time. I pray every time he scores a goal. I'm praying he scores a goal very, very soon. He's getting a lot of chances as well. I mean, the goalkeeper saved it today, so solid performance. Solid. I don't think solid is the word. Lokonga is going small. Lokonga was okay today. No problem with Lokonga. Edin Ketia was wasteful. Well done, boys, but I should start converting Nelson to striking line than Ketia, says Stanislas. Isaac says, but I thought Cedric should have come on for Ben White instead of Tomiyasu. There was that, but if we were 2-0 up, maybe that would have been the change. But because we were 1-0 up, he didn't want to risk bringing on the players who haven't played at all this season. Angela says, we won. Please stop crying. Angelos is saying, I am talking rubbish, Glenn. We won the game. So I respect that, Angelos. Let me know. Maybe I'm talking a lot of BS. So let me know if you agree with Angelos or you think it was a bad performance. Edmund says Edin Kete was not in the game at all. Tomiyasu shouldn't have come on. Rob Holding is only good for second half, says Edmund as well. Ebuka says, I just wished Martinelli playing Kete position. It would have been more better. Yeah, but you can't start every single first team player. We have Chelsea this weekend. That's a big game. Remember, even if we draw with Chelsea this week, even a draw, we are out of top spot because Man City are playing at home against Fulham and against Brentford. Man City will win both of those games. So we have to win both of our games to stay top of the table. The moment we don't even have to lose because we messed up against Southampton. Even if we draw with Chelsea, we are out of top spot. So we have to win the game against Chelsea. So you can't really start everyone. You need I wouldn't even have brought in maybe the thing I would have done, Emmanuel, I would have brought in Martinelli instead of Saka. That would have done that. I would have preferred Saka to rest until the weekend. Let's see. Thank you, RK, for the super chat. I appreciate the support for the channel. I know it's crazy times. The Europa League games now that the times have changed in Europe and UK. Times are crazy. I know it's 11, 12, 1 a.m. It's right now. So I appreciate you guys watching. We've topped the group. We keep moving forward. Chelsea, we are coming for you, says Ole. With that said, by the way, I'm still very confident for the Chelsea game. Chelsea, I hope I don't talk like that and then they beat us, but they have not been playing well. If you listen to their fans, they are playing with the back five. They're talking about Pulisic at right wing back. They're talking about Aubameyang not playing well. They're not happy with Sterling that much. So we definitely need to, if we won that game, I'd be so happy, by the way, so happy. in the last 10 years, we never did well at Stamford Bridge. So if we won again this time, it would be 3 wins in a row at Stamford Bridge. Let's see. The second half was Navi. Our changes did not help us at all, says Alhaji. We'll put second team out. Angela says we put the second team out. Yes, that's the point, Angela. So we are worried about the second team. So why I'm concerned about that is right now, let's say if Saka is out suspended and Xhaka is suspended and Partey is suspended, or like 3 or 4 of them are injured in the Premier League, would you trust, I don't want to mention names, but you know those players, would you trust those second team players to come in the Premier League against Aston Villa away, against Man City away? You wouldn't. You would not trust those players. So basically right now, I am praying that Partey stays fit until the end of the season. I'm praying that Saka stays fit until the end of the season. We are praying that Martinelli stays fit, because the players who are coming on, yes, they do well here and there, like Nketiah and Nelson did well in the Premier League the other day, but can they do it for 10 games in a row? That is the thing. You need players. You know, Man City are bringing Mahrez. Remember, Man City are bringing Mahrez. They're bringing Foden, Grealish, Gundogan from the bench. So if you want to compete with them, you have to talk about where you need to correct Angelos. If we ignore this kind of games, we will not be able to match Man City in the Premier League for the title. So we have to address such kind of problems so that we know where we need to improve. If we ignore them, we are never going to improve. So Ule says hope Tomiyasu has not been injured, is injured, unfortunately, again. This is like the 4th time this season. That is so, I don't know why the hell he's getting injured so many times. I don't think he got injured this many times for Bologna. I do not think he got injured this much. So I don't know what the hell happened. Are we prepared for Chelsea game on Sunday, says Khan? I think we are. I think in terms of fasting, I think Saka is coming back. That would be great. Partey is a bit fresh as well. Martinelli is fresh. Xhaka will be back. Listen, I did not know I was going to be this happy seeing Xhaka. Like right now, I am so happy that Xhaka will be back for the weekend. It's unbelievable. Like this is the Xhaka that we wanted to go the last 5 years, but I am so happy that Xhaka will return this weekend. Like I'm literally saying that is our best player coming back. I'm so happy Saliba will be back for the weekend. I'm happy that Zinchenko is back as well. So our main players will be back for the weekend. I'm happy Odegaard will be back as well for that game. So I think we are ready for that match. I think we are in a more better position than Chelsea. Edmund says we are beating Chelsea 5-1. Just imagine. I think we played well. Really though, Kamara, we didn't play well. Come on. We did not play well. We did not play well. We beat Zurich 1-0. They lost 6-0 and 5-0 to PSV. So they are bottom of the table in their league. Yes, they are bottom of the table in their league. So I don't think we played well. The most important game is Chelsea on Sunday. We really need that 3 points badly, and by hook or crook, says Isaac. We are coming for Chelsea, says Emmanuel. Chancellor says that Edu should add competitive players on the bench at this moment. No need to think about Champions League. We need a trophy. Now, when we didn't sign a midfielder after the transfer window, I looked at our team. I was like, yes, we don't have good midfielders to come on for Partey. But I looked at the rest of the team and I saw, if you start with Zinchenko, I didn't know Ben White was going to play as a right back at that time. We didn't know that. But I looked at the team. I was like, Tomiyasu starts at right back, Zinchenko, and then you have Saliba or Ben White, and then Gabriel. And then you look at the bench, we would have had Smith Rowe on the bench. You would have had Nketiah after the end of last season. He had played well. We would have had Ben White on the bench. I was like, this is not that bad having Tierney coming from the bench, Ben White coming from the bench, Nketiah coming from the bench, Smith Rowe. But then the problem is those players are getting injuries, and that is a problem. The moment you get 1, 2, 3 injuries, that is a massive problem. I have no doubt that the players that at Tierney do have brought in the last 2 seasons, I have no problem with. I think Tomiyasu is still a good player. I think Zinchenko is a good player. I think Jesus is a good player. I think yes, he's not scored goals for 5 games, but if you watch the game in detail, like today, there's that turn he made in the first half in the box. He's still a very good player, Jesus. Like those tricks, like he can pass like 4 or 5 players at once. He still has that. We still need him to convert the chances. Players like Ramsdale, no one complains about Ramsdale. Basically, you get the players that we've signed: Ben White, Saliba, all these guys. They're great. The last 5, Saliba wasn't signed by Arteta, but he's now an Arsenal player. So all these guys have no problem with. So I'm sure they will bring in like 2 players, like kind of. So hopefully there are good players to add to our team. But I did a video like 1 month ago talking about the January signings that we've made. I think 2018 was the only time we spent a lot of money in January. We signed Aubameyang, and then we brought in Mkhitaryan, and then I think Giroud went, Walcott went, Alexis Sanchez went. That is the only transfer we did a lot in January. All the other transfers, January, we signed Karlstrom, 2014 or something on January, terrible transfer. We signed Denis Suarez in another January as well. So we never usually get good players in January. So hopefully this is a change, because this time, if we ever needed players to come in January, this is the time. We've done so well this season, we cannot afford to mess it up. Like, we need players in January. We have a lot of games to go, especially next year. We are going to have a lot of games to play. Carabao Cup, usually by the new year, usually you're in the semi-final. But this time, because of the World Cup, there'll still be like another 4 or 5 games to go in the Carabao Cup next year. FA Cup, our trophy. We don't want to be eliminated in the first round again this time. Europa League. I really want us to win the Europa League, you know. I really want us, because I am tired of people saying Arsenal never win European trophies, man. Isaac says Milinkovic, Savic, and Tielemans, bring them to Arsenal. Now, Milinkovic, Savic team Lazio finished third in the Europa League game, so they're out of the Europa League. So they might be forced to sell him in January. Let's see. Gabriel Jesus will score on Sunday, trust me. And screenshot for remembrance. So screenshot what Kegode says. He says Jesus will score on the weekend. You know what, Kegode? I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with that as well. I'm going to go with Jesus to score this weekend. Jacques is still that man in our midfield before party. They're playing together this weekend as well. So let's see. I'm happy that they're back together this weekend. I wish as well, says Ben. And we must get 3 more players. No need to think about Champions League. It's time to get the trophy, says Chancellor. So let's do the player ratings. And before I come to the rest of your comments. So let's start with the goalkeeper. For the goalkeeper, I am going to give him a 7. He made 2 very good saves. He actually made the save before he considered the goal that was disallowed. In terms of kicking, again, first half, he gave away a corner, very unneeded, necessary. He gave away a corner that you never know. You might give away a corner like that, and then a team like that ends up scoring against you, literally giving them the ball. And SofaScore have actually given him a 7.5, higher than what I've given him. But I think 7 is fair enough. 65% in terms of accurate passes. He made 2 saves. He also saved 1 shot from inside the box. So 7 for him, I think, is fair. Our goal scorer for today, Kieran, I'm going to give him an 8. This is the Tierney we want to see. This is the Tierney I want to see, the Tierney who goes forward. Someone said that in the last stream against Nottingham Forest. They want to see Tierney pushing forward. Now, Arteta has been influenced by Pep Guardiola. And what Pep Guardiola does with the fullbacks, when they're like this, they usually come to the midfield. So you end up with Tierney as a midfielder, and you end up with Tomiyasu, Ben White as a midfielder. That is what Guardiola does there. Cancelo comes in as a midfielder, and Walker comes in as a midfielder. So that is what Arteta is trying to do as well. Sometimes Tierney comes in as a midfielder. But this is the Tierney we want to see. Tierney pushing forward, because he has these qualities. Goals. Sometimes he can strike a ball from outside the box. He's not afraid to shoot the ball. I've noticed that. He usually shoots the ball every single game from outside the box, and his crossing as well is pretty good. So for today, he got our goal. Literally put us in top spot. If it wasn't for him, that would have been a 0-0 draw. So Tierney for today gets an 8 out of 10. Probably the man of the match. Let me take a look at the other defensive stats. 3 out of 3 ground duels. That is great. That is 100%. He also made 2 tackles, 1 clearance, 2 out of 4 aerial duels. That's 50%. 81% in terms of accurate passes. He also completed 4 out of the 8 long balls that he attempted. So not bad at all. 8 out of 10 for Tierney. Next up is Ben White. He's going to get a 7. He played a key role in our goal as well, on the right side, crossing the ball. If you watch this every day, you probably know that Ben White is one of my best players at Arsenal. I really think he's a very, very good player. Like, there's a lot I like about him. Doesn't really get caught out of position. He rarely picks up a lot of yellow cards. Like, everything, like you'll never see Ben White getting a yellow card, I promise you. Like, out of 10 games, 15 games, maybe once. And that kind of shows you that he doesn't carelessly go into tackles or get caught out of position and then pull someone's shot. No, he doesn't do that. And he's playing as a right back. As a right back, you're supposed to get like a lot of yellow cards because you're playing against tricky wingers like Son and Zaha and Neymar and all these guys, but he doesn't. And I think his passing quality is great. And I just love Ben White. I absolutely love Ben White. So 7 out of 10 for today. In terms of stats, let's see. 2 out of 4 ground duels. He also had 74% in terms of accurate passes. He made 2 clearances, 2 tackles, 1 interception. He's been great once again. So 7 out of 10. In terms of defending, didn't really have a lot to do because Zurich didn't really attack that much. But 7 out of 10 because he played a key role in our goal as well. So I think his 7 is higher than the others, but we eventually did keep a clean sheet, so I don't think we can give them low. And I think some of you think Holding didn't play well. I've seen some comments, but if I show you the stats from Holding, and I don't think he played poorly. I mean, today he actually got involved in 7 aerial duels, like the corners we were giving away. He actually cleared like 6 of them. So in terms of defending, what he needed to do, clearing the corners, clearing the free kicks, he did his job today. 6 out of 7 aerial duels won. That is what we want to see from our defender. Win all the aerial battles, and he won 6 out of 7. And he also won 5 out of 9 ground duels. He made 4 tackles today. He made 1 interception, 1 clearance as well, 72% in terms of accurate passes. He also created a big chance. Yes, Rob Holding created a big chance. Yes, you had that right. Rob Holding created a big chance for us today. 7 out of 10 for him, so not bad. He's not pleasing on the eye. Like, you'll not watch Holding and you're like, oh my goodness, Holding reminds me of Maldini or Cannavaro or those kind of players. No, he's not going to impress you that much. But if you watch the game and you just watch him defending, he's going to do his job. So yes, he's still Holdini though. He's still better than Maldini though. Holding gets a 7 out of 10. Next up is Gabriel. He also kept a clean sheet, 7 out of 10. But again, the last minute free kick, very unnecessary. You do not have to give away that free kick, Gabriel. Last minute, that is still careless. So again, Gabriel is not a bad defender. I mean, we've had terrible defenders over the years. Remember Santos, remember Sculacci, remember Senderos. We've had bad defenders. So Gabriel is nowhere near that. But he made 5 clearances today, so that's great. 1 interception, 4 out of 5 aerial duels, so that is great as well. Today, in terms of corners, we gave away 4 corner kicks. We also gave away like 4 free kicks in dangerous areas, but Gabriel and Holding literally cleared all of them, so that is great. They definitely contributed to their clean sheets. So Gabriel, Holding today in terms of aerial balls and corners and free kicks, they cleared everything. So 7 out of 10 for Gabriel, but sometimes he needs to stop being careless. So that is where I'm a bit worried for him. Will the Brazil coach look at that and be like, no? Because Brazil do have the likes of Marquinhos, they do have Militao, they have Thiago Silva. So will he really be picked for the Brazilian squad? I don't know. I'm going to be surprised if he gets picked. So let's see. So in terms of defense recap, Ramsdale gets a 7, Tierney gets an 8, White gets a 7, Gabriel gets a 7, and Holding gets a 7. In terms of midfield, Elneny was on for like 60 minutes, so I'm going to give him 6 out of 10. I'm happy that he is back. To be honest, we didn't have enough players to play in midfield, so that is why I'm happy to have Elneny back. We've had to play Partey, like every single game is coming on. So I'm happy to have Elneny back. 97% in terms of accurate passes today, but some of you would say it's because he passes sideways. 2 out of 3 ground duels won. 1 out of 2 aerial duels, so nothing major. 1 foul committed. The thing with Elneny, you'll never look at Elneny's stats and you're like, wow, or you're like, oh my goodness, why did he do this? Elneny is Elneny. Elneny will have 40 passes, 90% accurate. He'll not really create a big chance. He'll not really get a yellow card. He doesn't pick up that many. So Elneny is Elneny. Elneny will do Elneny things. That's what I like saying about Elneny. He's not going to please your eye. You're not going to remember Steven Gerrard or Frank Lampard when you watch Elneny, but he's going to do his job. And he's a good guy. Let's not forget that. So for being a good guy, he gets a 6 out of 10. I'm happy to have him back. Albert Sambi Lokonga, though, was okay. 7 out of 10. I don't think he was terrible at all. I think Lokonga was okay. And I like where Lokonga played today. This position. That is where we want Lokonga to play, not where El Neni is. When Lokonga plays where El Neni is or where Partey plays, it doesn't look good at all. And he comes up against tricky players because that position where if you put Lokonga in this Partey position or El Neni position and you put him against Man City against De Bruyne, you're going to kill his career. You cannot do that to him. So you put experienced players. That is a very, midfield. I absolutely love midfield. That midfield position, that is my favorite position. For me, that is the most important position on the pitch where Partey plays. If you don't have a midfielder, you're absolutely messed. And that is not even the word I want to use, but to keep it PG, I'm going to use messed. If you don't have a midfielder, you're totally messed. N'Golo Conte helped Leicester win the Premier League. He helped France win the World Cup. You look at Vieira, look at Roy Keane at Man United. You literally have to have a good midfielder. Otherwise, I don't think there's any team that has ever won a Champions League or a Premier League and like, nah, they don't have a midfield, but they won the Champions League and the World Cup. No. If you look at all those teams, Toni Kroos in Germany and Khedira when they won the 2014 World Cup, if you look at Kante and Pogba for France in 2018, even if we go back to 2006 when Italy won it, they had Gattuso in midfield. You have to have good midfields to win those big trophies. You cannot have players who are not used to play there and then you win the trophy. So for me, Lokonga, that is where Lokonga needs to play. He also hasn't played there because Jacques has been so good in that position. But in terms of today, 86% in terms of accurate passes. And then this is the stat that made me happy. 6 ground duels, 6 of them won. So he didn't lose a midfield battle at all. Yes, that is what we need to see. He was involved in 6 midfield battles and he won all 6 of them. That is what we want to see from Lokonga. 1 out of 1 aerial duels as well won. He only lost possession 5 times. That is great for a midfield in that position. All the other players that I've talked about lost possession more times than him. He also won us 3 free kicks. He made 3 clearances. He made 2 tackles. So Lokonga, keep on playing like that and we will be happy. So 7 out of 10 for him. Fabio Vieira, he would have had like 2 goals. Jesus blocked one of them. When it's not going your way, it's definitely not going your way. There's a chance that Jesus blocked on the line from Fabio Vieira. He had some promising moments, but I know I've already seen some comments saying Fabio Vieira has not excited me, blah, blah, blah. SofaScore is giving him a 7 out of 10. He was not bad, but again, he was not great. It's not the best performance we've seen from him this season. He had 3 shots that he had 3 shots that were blocked. I think Gabriel Jesus blocked 2 of them. What the hell? Let's see. He also had 86% in terms of accurate passes. 1 out of 4 ground duels won. He completed 4 out of his 7 crosses, 4 out of his 6 long balls. Now, I've given him a 6, but I'm kind of thinking of giving him a 7 because I think his corner kicks were good today. But can I really give him a 7? I mean, yeah, maybe I can give him a 7 because his corner kicks were not bad today. So if I was giving halves, it would have been like 6.5. But yeah, you can correct me in that one. I've given him a 6, but I have no problem with you guys upgrading that to a 7. I think his corner kicks and free kicks were good today. They created a couple of chances from that. In terms of the forward line, though, today I'm going to have to be a bit harsh because this is like the 4th time this is happening this season. So Nketiah is only going to get a 6, and he's even lucky to get a 6. Should have been like a 5. But once again, not happy at all. Against Bodo Glimt away from home, he was too quiet once again. Against PSV last week, too quiet again. So basically, he started all 6 Europa League games this season. Has he scored a goal? I think he did score against... I think he scored against Bodo Glimt at home, right? But all the other games has not been great in the Europa League. And this is usually his competition. This is usually the competition he usually shines in. So I'm not happy at all with Eddie Nketiah again today. And unless I watched the wrong game, let me look at the stats because for me, that second half, I did not even see him at all. And I don't think he played badly. It's just the fact that he was too quiet. Like I literally did not see them in the Bodo Glimt game. Did not see him again today. And it's not just him. I'm going to talk about the other players, and I'm going to be as fair as possible. I think Fabio Vieira as well, Bodo Glimt away, too quiet. I've talked about Vieira. Even Jesus, second half today, not great at all. Even someone like Saka against Bodo Glimt away from home, not great at all. Again, too quiet. So 6 out of 10 for Nketiah, but yeah, I was afraid of that. I was afraid of whenever he doesn't play well, I was afraid we'll start getting the comments like, I told you, because I've already seen a lot of that even in the chat. I told you Nketiah is not good enough. We need a second striker. That is what I'm usually worried about. I usually pray that he plays well. I usually pray that Jesus scores because I don't want that pressure on them. And now when you start, I'm a bit worried that our strikers have gone like 5-6 games. He's not scored in a long time, and Jesus as well. So I'm a bit worried that our strikers have gone 5-6 games without scoring. But Nketiah, today 6 out of 10. He had 2 shots on target, 71% in terms of accurate passes, 1 out of 7 ground duels won, 1 out of 1 aerial duels won. He lost possession 16 times. So not exciting again today, and that doesn't apply to him alone. I was really hoping this guy would play like he did over the weekend, because the moment you have one performance, 2 good performances, 3, 4, 5, it's great. But football does not really give you a lot of time. And then someone like Nelson, he played really well over the weekend, but the moment he plays poor, he didn't play poorly. He got involved in a couple of things here and there, but he wasn't exciting as he was against Nottingham Forest. So I'm usually concerned about players like this. When he plays well once and then plays poorly the next game, you'll start hearing comments like, I told you, Nelson is not good enough. I told you, it was just a one game wonder, one hit wonder, blah, blah, blah. So 6 out of 10 for him again. Nothing much to say, honestly. Just a 6 out of 10. He was just as quiet as Nketiah, although he did win us a couple of, but I was expecting more. I mean, let's see. Maybe I'm crazy. 0 out of 5 crosses. He put in 5 crosses. All 5 of them did not land on an Arsenal player. 4 out of 8 ground duels. 1 clearance made. He was fouled once. He committed 1 foul. 3 tackles. So he actually did more defensive work than attacking. But 6 out of 10. And I'm going to be as fair as possible. That is exact same I'm going to give to Jesus. I really want him to score. I would give anything for Jesus to score. I would be happy to drop that 5-0 win against Nottingham Forest and take a 1-0, but Jesus scored the goal. I'd be happy with that because I need him to score. I mean, he's not been playing badly. He always gets involved. Like, you can never watch a game and you're like, I've not seen Gabriel Jesus. No, you will always see him. That is the one thing that he has. Like, he's always involved. He does not shy away from games. Usually some strikers go quiet, go missing in a game, and then they wait for a goal. Usually strikers do that, but Jesus does not just sit up front and wait for a goal. He does not do that at all. So he missed one big chance today. The goalkeeper saved it in the second half. 2 shots blocked. He actually did. To be honest, he actually did more defensive work for FC Zurich than he did attacking for us, because I think he blocked like 2 shots today. One of them was from Fabio Vieira that was supposed to be a goal. So he actually blocked our own shots. Ground deals involved in 9, and he won 5 of them. So 6 out of 10 for Jesus. So yeah, not exciting from the forward players at all. So if we recap that, hopefully I've been fair. Ramsdale 7, Tierney 8, White 7, Gabriel 7, Holding 7, Lokonga 7, El Neni 6, Fabio Vieira 6, Nketiah 6, Nelson 6, Jesus 6. So let's go to the bench players. We had 5 players coming on. They aren't on for too long. So Saka came on. I did not see Saka. Did you guys see Saka? He came on for 30 minutes, but I don't think I even saw him. That's how much we did not get the ball in the second half. So I'm going to have to give him a 5. Hopefully we see him over the weekend, because if we're going to beat Chelsea, we need Saka to be top of his game. Partey 6. He made a couple of good tackles in midfield, so 6 out of 10. Who else came on? Tomiyasu. Just going to give him a 5 because I feel sorry for his injury. Odegaard as well. Did he even touch the ball? 5 out of 10. I had not say, all these guys that came on, I only saw Tomiyasu when he was down injured. And then Cedric literally did not have a lot to do. He only came on for 5 minutes. So just 5 out of 10. Manager, we won, but I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Wasn't exciting. I was expecting more goals. I was expecting a more exciting performance. There are players that could look for a position in the Premier League. Like if Nketiah plays well in all 6 Europa League games, he might end up starting in the Premier League. If Lokonga plays well in all 6 Europa League games, he might end up starting in the Premier League. If Rob Holding plays well, imagine that Rob Holding plays well and Saliba is benched against Chelsea and Rob Holding plays. Or just imagine that there would be a meltdown. Saliba benched for Holding. I'm telling you, even if Holding scored 8 goals today and you start him against Chelsea, there would be a meltdown. Like, why the hell is Holding starting against Chelsea? If you get what I mean. If players play well in the Europa League for 5-6 games, they will be playing in the Premier League. But I don't think there's any player that played really well to deserve a place in the Premier League. So Martinelli comes back in easily. Partey comes back in easily. Saliba comes back in as well. Saka comes back in as well. Odegaard as well. All our first team players will come in as well easily. So that is where now you need backup players as well. Because at the moment, even if Jesus doesn't play well, what do you do? Some people still don't trust in Nketiah. So even if Jesus plays poorly, you don't have any other strike on the bench, so you have to play Jesus. If Partey doesn't play well, you cannot really drop him as well. You have to play him in the next game. So when you're in a team like Man City, if Mahrez doesn't play well, my friend, you're sitting on the bench the next game. We are going to bring in Foden for this one. Even if you go to even Arsenal back in the day, I mean, if Perez doesn't play well, you push Ljungberg to the left side and you bring on Reyes to the right side. Rest in peace to Reyes. You bring him to the right side. If Thierry Henry doesn't play well, there's no game he never played well. He always played well. Apart from the 2006 Champions League final that we should have won. He knows that. Thierry Henry knows that. If Wiltord doesn't play well, Kanu comes on from the bench. So we had a lot of players back, but right now, but hopefully they will improve the player, the January transfer window in the summer. So yes, so that is the player rating. Let me see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Isaac says Kieran Tierney, man of the match, finished. The rest was basically useless. Says Isaac. I know. I don't know. I don't think they are useless. There's a couple of players that I think deserved to be talked about today. Like Lokonga, I think I did well. Ben White, I think he did okay. Tierney, I don't think a lot of people knew about Holding and Gabriel clearing a lot of headers today. We needed to talk about that as well. They cleared everything that came on. So, yes. If Jesus got injured, can Nketiah play attacking role? Nketiah can't do the job. We need to get more players. At the end of last season, Nketiah played well. He actually gave us, last season, it was actually El Neni and Nketiah who gave us a chance to actually qualify for the Champions League. They're the ones who helped us for like 5-6 games, and we put ourselves in a position where we could have gone to the Champions League. But apart from that, the problem is you need a consistent player. That is the thing. So I'm always worried about, can Nketiah do well for you 10 games in a row? Can Lokonga come on and do well 10 games in a row? Can Holding come on and do well 10 games in a row? If Ramsdale got injured, can Matt Turner come on and do 10 games in a row? If Gabriel wasn't there, the player who's coming from the bench 10 games in a row, can you do that? That is the only way you can do well in the Europa League or end up top of the table. We need to get more players in January, I swear, says Victor. Stansler says to me, White 8, KT 8, and update me about Miguel Aziz's performance on loan. Miguel Aziz is in Spain, right? I've not followed his games. I've actually followed more of the likes of Charlie Patino and the likes of Pablo Maria. Followed more the other defender that we bought, Austin Trustee, is doing well at Birmingham as well. I don't know how much Miguel Aziz is playing in Spain, so I'll actually check that, Stanislas. Emmanuel says we need to transfer the player from Shakhtar Donetsk. Mudryk is absolutely incredible. Full-time score 1-0. We must. Sansa says we must get 3 more players. So, Chelsea, we are coming for you, but we got the job done. Let us do this. Let us bring the table. Let's bring the table. look at to how the table has ended up being for us, and then we call it a night. I know it's pretty late. Let's take a look at the table and see how we finished the group. So we have avoided the likes of Barcelona and Ajax and Salzburg and all these guys. We are not going to face them. Let's see which draw we are going. So we are not going to be involved in the draw for next week. Our next draw will be like next year. So we are going to watch the others getting their draws next week. Let's see. I'm hoping Man United to get Barcelona or Ajax. That would be a dream if they did that. So this is the table, if it has popped up yet. Let's see. So top of the table, not bad. 15 points. PSV finished with 13. Bodo Glimt finished with 4, and Zurich finished with 3. So you can see we are playing bottom of the table and we really struggled. That is why I was not that happy. And they also conceded 16 goals. So we were lucky that we won today and we finished top of the group. So we are avoiding all those guys dropping out of the Champions League. So pretty happy. 15 points, 8 goals scored, not the best, but job done. Lost 1 game, won 5 out of the 6. We've done the job, so can't really complain. Out of the entire season, if we are going to take the positives from the Europa League this season, clean sheets. We've kept 4 clean sheets in the 6 games. That is a positive. And I think Rob Holding, apart from the PSV game last week, I mean, Rob Holding has done okay in the 5 games, so no problem with that as well. Negatives, as I said, the forward players, all these games, they've not really done well forward. I literally think against Bodo Glimt, we had 1 shot. I think today we had like 1 shot in the second half as well, so it's not been great. But listen, Glenn, you've complained too much for today. We have won the game. Arsenal are through, top of the table, and we are top everywhere we go. Yes, Arsenal is top everywhere we go. Chelsea this weekend, big game. We'll do a live preview for that one because it's a big game. We have to try and win it. If we win it, I'm confident of being top of the table during the World Cup, and then we can go watch Ghana, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, all these guys, enjoying ourselves being top of the table as well. So guys, go get some sleep. I appreciate you watching. Hit the like button if you haven't yet. Top of the table. Come on, you Gunners. I'll catch up with you on the next one.